Just 1 minute ago, Hollywood was shaken as Ron Howard, one of the most respected and soft-spoken directors of our time, revealed heartbreaking new details that no one saw coming. For decades, Howard has been known for his calm presence, his gentle storytelling, and his unwavering professionalism. He's the kind of man who keeps his private life behind closed doors. But today, something changed, and what he finally revealed has left fans, colleagues, and the entire entertainment industry stunned. This wasn't a rumor, a leak, or tabloid gossip. These were Ron Howard's own words, raw, personal, and far more devastating than anyone expected. People who have followed his career know he rarely speaks about painful moments, but the way he delivered this update made it clear he has been carrying a heavy burden for a long time, and he could no longer stay silent. As the news spread, social media exploded. Fans who grew up watching Happy Days, Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, and the Da Vinci Code rushed online to express shock, sadness, and support. Many said they had never heard Ron sound this emotional. Others admitted they had a feeling something was wrong, but never imagined it would be this serious. Insiders say the situation has been building for months, quietly unfolding behind the scenes, while Ron continued working, smiling, and showing up for fans. But now, with the truth finally out, people are beginning to realize just how difficult this journey has been for him. The details he shared are not only heartbreaking, they reveal a side of Ron Howard that the world has never seen before, and this is only the beginning. What he exposed today is changing everything. For most of his life, Ron Howard has been the kind of figure people trust, steady, calm, and collected. From the moment he appeared on screen as a child in the Andy Griffith Show, he carried an innocence that won the hearts of millions. As he grew older and transitioned into directing, that same sincerity guided him. No scandals, no outbursts, no dramatic headlines, just decades of honest work, quiet determination, and an almost unbelievable consistency in a chaotic industry. But what most people never realized was that beneath that composure, Ron was fighting battles no one could see. In Hollywood, emotional pressure is often hidden behind smiles and carefully curated interviews. Ron, being a private man, hid his more than anyone else. Yet those closest to him noticed the subtle changes, the growing quietness, the fatigue in his eyes, the way he sometimes paused before answering personal questions. Something was weighing on him, but he never let it show publicly. That silence continued for months, until today. Just 1 minute ago, Ron Howard finally reached a breaking point. The weight he had been carrying became too heavy, and the truth he revealed shocked even those who have known him for decades. This wasn't the kind of update fans expect from a beloved director. It wasn't about a new project, a retirement announcement, or a Hollywood dispute. It was personal, painfully personal. For years, Ron had chosen to bury his struggles deep within himself, believing that revealing them would disrupt his work or worry the people he cared about. But life has a way of forcing truths to the surface, especially when they become impossible to hide. The challenge he's been facing, one that has grown worse with time, finally pushed him to speak out. Reports say Ron appeared visibly shaken when he delivered the news. His voice trembled, something fans had never seen from him. He wasn't promoting a film. He wasn't discussing box office numbers. He was talking about something that struck at the core of who he is, something that has been affecting his family, his health, and his ability to continue working at the pace he's known for. The moment he began speaking, the room reportedly fell silent. This was no press stunt, no scripted announcement. It was the release of emotions he had held back for far too long. People close to Ron say this struggle has been building behind the scenes for nearly a year. He continued directing, producing, and supporting his children's careers while quietly dealing with a devastating reality. Instead of confiding in the public, he threw himself into work, believing distraction would help. But nothing could shield him from the truth forever. When he finally spoke today, it wasn't just a revelation, it was a confession. A vulnerable, heartbreaking admission that left even the most seasoned reporters stunned. For someone who has built a career on strength, clarity, and steady leadership, showing this level of vulnerability was not easy, but it was necessary. The news he revealed is already being called one of the most emotional and unexpected updates of His career. Fans around the world are reacting with shock, sympathy, and confusion, desperate to know more about what has been happening behind the curtain, and soon, they will because what Ron Howard exposed today is only the beginning. The full story, what caused this emotional breaking point, how long he has been struggling, and what this means for his future has layers far deeper than anyone could imagine. In the days leading up to his emotional revelation, those closest to Ron Howard noticed a drastic shift, subtle at first, then impossible to ignore. Friends observed that he had become quieter, more withdrawn, often staring off into the distance during meetings or family gatherings. Crew members reported that he took more breaks on set than ever before, occasionally excusing himself with a polite smile that barely masked the strain behind it. Ron Howard had always been the first to arrive and the last to leave, a perfectionist who poured every ounce of himself into his work. But lately, fatigue clung to him like a shadow. His once bright, enthusiastic energy seemed dimmer, as though each day required a little more effort than the last. For someone who spent decades managing pressure with grace, this sudden shift raised concern among those who knew him best. Behind the scenes, Ron was battling something far heavier than anyone imagined. A private issue, one tied deeply to his personal life, had been slowly eroding his strength. He kept it hidden, convinced that revealing it would disrupt his family, his career, or his sense of control. That fear of vulnerability held him back, pushing him to carry an unbearable weight in silence. But silence has limits, and Ron had reached his. The moment he finally decided to speak came after a particularly exhausting week of juggling commitments, emotional strain, and an internal battle he could no longer fight alone. Sources say he confided first in a close family member, breaking down for the first time in years. It wasn't a dramatic collapse, just a quiet, painful moment where the truth slipped out, raw and unfiltered. That conversation reportedly convinced Ron it was time to open up publicly, no matter how difficult it would be. When he stepped in front of cameras to address the world, he wasn't polished or rehearsed. He wasn't the flawless director fans were used to seeing. He was human, vulnerable, and visibly weighed down. His voice trembled as he revealed details that explained his recent struggle, details that painted a picture of a man fighting emotional exhaustion, personal heartbreak, and private turmoil. The announcement stunned everyone. Ron's reputation for calm made the reveal even more shocking. Viewers who watched the footage noted how deeply emotional he became, how his words caught in his throat, how he paused multiple times to gather himself. It was a side of Ron Howard the world had never seen. Social media erupted almost instantly. Thousands of messages poured in from fans, fellow actors, and even major directors expressing support and disbelief. Some said they felt their heart drop hearing him speak. Others admitted they had noticed his recent changes, but assumed it was simply age or workload. No one suspected the truth behind his quiet suffering. Industry insiders revealed that many projects had quietly been delayed, rewritten, or shifted to accommodate Ron's changing emotional state. Still, he insisted on staying involved, refusing to step back even when others urged him to take time off. He believed that working harder would help him escape what he was feeling. But the pressure only made things worse. Now, with everything out in the open, Ron's words have sparked major questions. How long has he truly been struggling? What exactly pushed him to this breaking point? And what does this mean for his future in filmmaking? Those answers are coming, because the truth Ron revealed is only the surface of a much deeper story. A story that traces back months, perhaps even years. A story that explains everything he has been hiding, everything he has been carrying, and everything that led to this devastating public moment. And in the next chapter, we uncover the moment that changed everything. As Ron Howard continued revealing the deeply personal details behind his family's recent challenges, what struck fans the most wasn't the tragedy itself, it was the way Ron described the fear, helplessness, and emotional exhaustion he'd been carrying in silence. For decades, audiences have known him as the optimistic creative mind behind films filled with hope and humanity. But in this latest update, Ron admitted that he had been fighting a silent battle that few outside his closest circle even knew existed. According to insiders close to the family, Ron had been balancing critical professional responsibilities while navigating painful family hardships at the same time. His daughter Bryce Dallas Howard was reportedly one of his strongest supporters, urging him to take a step back and focus on his own well-being. But Ron, known for his relentless work ethic, kept pushing through even when it became clear that the emotional strain was taking a toll on him. The part that truly shocked fans is when Ron admitted that, for the first time in his long career, he genuinely considered whether he needed to step away from directing permanently. Those who know how deeply filmmaking runs in his blood understand how devastating such a thought must have been. To hear him even entertain the possibility made many realize just how serious the situation behind the scenes had become. Yet, even in the midst of this painful revelation, Ron expressed gratitude toward the fans who have supported him since his early days on The Andy Griffith Show. He said their love and loyalty were a source of strength during one of the darkest chapters of his life. For millions who have grown up watching Ron Howard's films, hearing these updates left them stunned. No one expected a man who brought so much joy to the world to be struggling so quietly. But perhaps the most heartbreaking part is that this story, according to Ron himself, is still not over, and there are more details he promised to share soon. Just when fans thought Ron Howard had revealed all there was to know, he shared one final update, one that has sparked emotional reactions across social media and left many praying for his strength. In a quiet, heartfelt message, Ron explained that the challenges he has been facing have forced him to rethink the future of his career, his family priorities, and even his health. Ron revealed that doctors had urged him to significantly reduce his workload after noticing signs of stress-related complications. While he didn't go into specifics, insiders say he was experiencing symptoms that made continuing his normal schedule impossible. This wasn't the kind of break Ron ever imagined taking, but he admitted that, for the first time in his life, he had no choice but to step back for the sake of his health and his family. What made the announcement even more emotional was Ron's admission that he had begun turning down projects he would have accepted in a heartbeat just a few years ago. One major studio reportedly approached him with a massive film deal, but Ron declined, saying he couldn't commit to something he couldn't give 100% of my heart and energy. Industry professionals were stunned. Ron is known for his dedication and passion, and seeing him walk away made everyone realize how serious his situation had become. But the moment that brought fans to tears was when he said that he planned to spend more time with his wife Cheryl and their children, calling them his anchor through every storm. He emphasized that family must come first now, and this shift in priorities was something he should have made long ago. Despite the sadness surrounding his revelations, Ron ended on a hopeful note, saying that while this chapter of his career may be slowing down, it is not closing completely. He promised that when the time is right, he will return stronger, healthier, and more grateful than ever. For now, though, this announcement marks one of the most emotional turning points in Ron Howard's life, a reminder that even the strongest among us sometimes need to step back and breathe.